Welcome to your Thriving Heart for Thriving Life Grief Tips. This week, we're going to share about navigating collective transnational grief. What is non-transnational grief? Transnational grief is when you, or perhaps your friend or a loved one, grieving because of some things that happen a distance location from you. Perhaps your loved one is in an area of natural disaster, and this causes a lot of angst, and perhaps they experience significant loss that's caused you to also grieve. Perhaps this past couple week has been a lot of concern about this from multitude of natural disaster as well as events that sometimes happen even across the globe, and causing us bringing back a lot of trauma, a lot of sadness. And when this happens, there are a few tips on how to navigate this. The first one is I invite you, if you or your loved ones grieving, to be a heart with ears and open hands. There's an image of, you can see here in the with a heart with ears and open hands. What is a heart with ears and open hands? Heart with ears and open hands is to listen with compassion and no judgment. Firstly, to the person who are grieving, if you are grieving, to listen to yourself with compassion and no judgment. Sometimes we demand ourselves to be this way or that way. Why didn't we think about that? Why didn't we help prepare the persons about this? And it is normal to be doing that. And and many times we also demand ourselves to be this way or that way. Even as we are grieving, we feel a lot of unsettled feeling. While actually, that's Dr. Viktor Frankl, who is a psychiatrist, says that, and the author of Man's Search for Meaning says, an abnormal behavior in an abnormal circumstance is normal. An abnormal behavior in an abnormal circumstance is normal. So, for instance, if your loved one's experiencing something, a distance from you, and you suddenly notice you cannot focus, and then you make seemingly some, what many people call silly, random mistakes, just notice that and allow yourself to give yourself a lot of grace. And the same thing if somebody else doing that, perhaps your loved one's doing something and you say, oh my gosh, what you doing? Why are you doing this? To allow a lot of grace, a lot of kindness, a lot of compassion to anyone who are experiencing grief. And the open hands is to be willing to reach out and connect them in any way that you possibly could, and as much as possible, while understanding that sometimes solutions that many people come to me this way. Many people whose loved one are grieving, they say, you know what? I've been asking my daughter or my mother or my father or my son, my brother or whomever to reach out for help because they're having a tough time, but they don't want to reach out for help. And that makes you grieve even more and make you even more upset. Let's say somebody's going through things and you say, what about if you do this? What about if you reach out this, that? And they're not doing that. And sometimes that can make you grieve more. But just know that everybody different. Grief also causes people to feel very happy, very tired, very clouded in our mind. And so sometimes what seems to be a very clear answer for you, or something that makes a lot of sense to do for you, might not be for them. They might not have the energy to do that. And so to be heart with ears and open hands, where you offer support, but if they don't do that, where you provide recommendations, but if they don't do that, don't take it personally. And at the same time, if you are experiencing things, to also allow and reach out for support. And another thing that you would want to consider to doing is particularly when it's different, something that happened in a distance, to consider the differences, even if it is in the same country, and theoretically there are same resource or something, sometimes there are just local differences. And with that, we want to also allow ourselves to focus on the as best as we are able to on something that's shared, something that's similar. Sometimes perhaps it is somebody that who has been away from home. Many times I have people say, well, yes, this person, their relatives, their loved one is in a different country, and they have been away away for some time, and then naturally they start think differently or something like that. Focus on what is shared. Focus on what is still the same, what is still similar, instead of focusing on things that are now differences. And what is the shared? Perhaps it's a shared concern, perhaps it's a shared love, perhaps it's a shared similar background, sometimes even sharing stories of things that you know and they know can help alleviate the toughest moment. And then to allow space for each and every one of us. Griefs take a lot of energy. Grief takes a lot of energy that it's make people very tired, very overwhelmed, very easily. And so to allow the person all the people who are grieving, the emotional space, and if possible, even the physical space. And so those are a few tips that we can benefit from when we're navigating grief collectively together, and to focus on what is shared, focus on similarity versus what is different, focus on what's possible, and there is a saying, do what you can with what you have where you are. If you cannot go visit them, if there is internet, yeah, then connect over the internet or connect over the phone. Allow support if somebody is having a tough time with the technology. And if you have any questions or any concerns, please feel welcome to share your questions in the comment below and of this below this video, as well as if you have questions, feel welcome to connect with me directly at drtanforgrief@gmail.com. If you find these videos useful, please share it with your loved one, anybody who can benefit, as well as to subscribe and like this video so you continue to receive updates. This is Dr. BirgitteTan with Joyful Riches Beyond Grief. I care about you and your loved one very much, and I look forward to see you again in the next video.